Exciting to hear from Youngbuck, and as Youngbuck said, sad it can't be in happier circumstances. Excel now completely locked into 7th place. All of the bottom side of the table are 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So really not playing for a lie here for the side of Excel, but potentially hoping for some future improvement and maybe hoping to knock Origen down a peg.
Yeah, because right now Origen's still very much in the race for second, tied with Fnatic at the moment. So these two final games for them, today against Excel, tomorrow against Mad Lions, are extremely important to try and finish as high as possible. And I think also OG sort of come into every week with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, trying to prove themselves against a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily have a ton of faith in this team come playoff time.
You mean all of the colorcasters?
Myself. Me.
Yes.
Me.
Well, I think, and it's clear, like, Origen, right, are clearly in that 3rd place slot. We talk about it all the time, but anytime
they're tied for second.
They're in the skill category, Ender, Mr. Stamens. All right, give me a little bit of credit here. I think that's the discussion, and every time they can show us more, it's more hope, it's more faith, it's one more thing to put on their side of the they deserve to be top 2 kind of argument. For now, though, as we enter picks and bans for XL versus OG, it is XL on the blue side, OG on the red. Going to be the Gragas, the Nautilus, the Callista, and the Senna banned away so far.
Here we go. So OG watched Game 3 very clearly here. We're back to all the ADC bans that we saw in the first couple of games here, taking away that Callista. Of course, you can flex between top lane and bot lane now, so very strong champion right there. And I don't think Alphari is usually the guy that's like, hey, I want to take a winning matchup in the top lane. You know, he wants to look really, really good. If you give the Callista over, you're just never going to look good.
Well, additionally, once the enemy team bans Nautilus, it's kind of like, give us Callista, I dare you. Because with Nautilus, like, you can push ult, she will eventually get CC'd, and there's some hope to being able to kill her. But otherwise, she can just pretty much dance around any champion in the game. The Thresh ban being the final ban, a lot of bottom side attention in this matchup.
Right.
And while, I mean, Patrik and Torre have been a very strong point for Excel this entire season, and it looks like they're going to get first pick of Felios here. Nerfed on this patch, but still very powerful.
Yeah, everyone still thinks he's sort of the go-to, right? Lost wave clear, lost some sustain, lost, of course, you know, the chakram rapid fire damage as well, but still does a little bit of everything. And that's really the strength of the Aphelios, is when you can initiate fights, but you can also 1v1 people. You can default into wave clear patterns. Like, he can do a little bit of everything, so when you're sitting on the right guns, you look very, very good. Now, oh, I like this a lot. It's gonna Karthus in the jungle here for Xerxe. I'm always gonna be a huge fan of this one. Don't pick Renekton next to it though, because that would be okay.
Ooh. Okay, this is interesting.
Whack.
Now you have to wonder for OG if Renekton is a flex pick, if it's something that they're willing to move around the map. But of course, Pantheon is still up and available. Feels almost like a little bit of a call out, but we've seen this matchup be so Pantheon favored when executed properly. There's now a Tahm Kench at least to protect the Aphelios on the side of XL, but well, I'm worried about the Renekton too, dude. I'm not entirely sure what OG are thinking, locking in Renekton blind so early in the draft.
Well, I just don't really understand going for the Renekton right next to the Karthus as your, you know, red first 2 picks here. Because, like, Karthus, while he can have, like, some, like, level 1, very strong, he's not gonna pair up super nicely with the Renekton. Renekton is never online at the same times that a Karthus is going to be, if that makes sense. So, like, I understand the Karthus next to an Ezreal. I think that makes a lot of sense here. But the Renekton has really thrown me for a loop outside of, like, early lane dominance, the ability to, like, be beefy in fights later on, but honestly, I'm not a fan.
And of course, Renekton is one of those champions that when he starts to win lane can take over a game, so it does fit into that Alphari wheelhouse in that sense. Maybe, as I mentioned earlier, that OG could use it as a flex pick. Not something that we see too frequently, but it is possible. But now with the Ezreal locked in, XL feel like it's probably the appropriate time to ban Yuumi. And the Gangplank ban makes me feel like it's all but certain that that is a Renekton top, because Gangplank would be a perfect champion to have into someone as immobile as an Aphelios on the opposite side.
So, here's my theory, Dracos. I think we're seeing a tank mid lane from Nukeduck. I think we might see the tree in the mid lane. So, here's what I'm thinking, right? You don't have a heavy engaged top laner in the Renekton, right? Like, how are you going to start off a team fight? And when you have a Karthus in your jungle, like, you would love to have, like, an Ornn in mid lane where Karthus can just come mid lane sometimes and, like, leech some minions away from him. So, obviously, they are saving the counter pick for last for Nukeduck, so depending on what Excel lock in, that may change, but I think they could be well off to go for a tanky option.
And look, this is a very hard composition to lock down. And Aphelios, while he can get excellent setups on his ult, the range has been hit. He's been hit repeatedly with nerfs. So A lot of champions that can just get away from Xerxe, that don't have to fight on Xerxe's terms outside of the Karthus. Now with the Rumble locked in, it feels like Xerxe are setting up for one hell of a wombo combo. The Rumble ult plus the Aphelios Gravitum ult is very difficult to deal with, and if they lock in this Ivern, I'm going to laugh so hard, because I don't know if it's just you, but I know Frost has been asking every week for them to play around bottom side, and now it's literally all of the eggs in the Patrik mid to late game carry basket. Nope. But of course, I talk about the hovers over, and they immediately disappear. It looks like it is going to be Pantheon in the jungle for the side of Xerxe.
Yeah, I do like this a lot. Gives some early game ganking power, and with his empowered E, can tank turrets very, very well in the early game. Look for some dives here. Now, the Rumble also going to be a good laning answer up against the Renekton. You have some range, you have that ability power poke, so like he shouldn't get bullied too hard in that 1v1 matchup. And it's also a champion Expect has loved to play in the past, and one of his signature moves is actually getting the push up top lane and finding roams towards mid, which seems to be the Xerxe way, right? People say, oh, it would be great if they played through bot lane, but more often than not, it is going to be the Mickey show when Xerxe load onto the Rift.
This is so interesting from the side of OG, because I thought, like, Nukeduck could have hand shook in mid lane on, sort of a scaling matchup. Instead, he goes right back to the Sylas, one of the only guys in our league playing this champion right now. Now, of course, there's a bunch of great ultimates to steal on the other side. I have no idea, if I'm honest, how Aphelios ult plus Sylas ult works. Haven't looked that one up. I will do that as we get into the loading screen, but in the meantime, it does feel like a strong pick, but I'm a bit nervous about his laning phase against a Corki.
Well, we've actually seen in the past, obviously Sylas has been changed a lot since we saw this matchup pretty frequently, but like early levels, Sylas can actually get control over the wave, tank up auto attacks, use the passive to hit as many minions as possible. So I don't actually think it's a bad matchup in the early game for the side of Origen. And now, the only thing left to ask is Xerxe going to be able to get through this early game without Caedrel getting too much done on the Pantheon?
And what can Caedrel do on the Pantheon? Because it's always been Mickey's Pantheon. It's never been Caedrel's Pantheon. Caedrel's been kind of the stable, the workhorse for this team, but now we get to see Xerxe. Can they take down OG? Can they make the race for second even that much harder for Origen? And here we are, beautiful Summoner's Rift, home sweet home. Both Xerxe and OG. As mentioned, Xerxe are locked to their current position. OG still fighting a bit further up the table as much as they can. G2 locked in first, so it's really just the battle for second at this point. Can't afford to take any losses, and OG do not have the easiest schedule. It is Xerxe and Mad Lions this week. They want to avoid just being relegated to third. They do need to start finding wins as quickly as possible.
And this, by all means, a game that Origen are expected to win here. Just making sure all the boxes are ticked, and Xerxe don't have any funny things up their sleeve. Now, when you're in draft, I was sort of talking about, how Pantheon can interact up against this Karthus pick. But honestly, like, the more I look at his team comp, I'm like, what does Caedrel actually accomplish here in the early game? Like, top lane doesn't seem like it's going to be a super gankable option. Bot lane, again, not going to look too great. I think his best move is actually around mid lane, assuming that Nukeduck is going to be pushing on this Sylas. And of course, Sylas being a melee champion will have to extend forward to ever go for a last hit, which means that timing ganks can be easier. But even then, Mickey doesn't really have any CC to help set him up for these plays. So this is a game where, I don't know, I feel a little bit for Caedrel, because I don't think he has a lot of super good options.
Yeah, we can see the team fight, you can see the dream at level 6, right, where everything kind of comes together with the ultimates, you get the wombo combo, but early game, very important for Pantheon jungle, and Caedrel may be struggling.
Like, if you're trying to scale to level 6 up against Karthus, I've got bigger problems.
Yeah. You're all, maybe sometimes hits 5 people every once in a while. Hits 5 people every single time.
Now, good news is, Pantheon can fully block Karthus ult damage just by angling his shield the correct direction. Even though it comes from the sky, the game doesn't care about, conventional logic. It just cares about what direction he's facing.
What direction you're facing. That's fine.
Yeah.
Shout out to Karthus. I lied. It's not a point and click. It's just a click. That's all it is. Highly
it's even less skill.
It doesn't matter where you point it. It's going to hit no matter what. It's a heat-seeking ultimate. Now, early on, you talked about Nukeduck potentially trading health to keep the wave pressured. Now that he's at level 3, maybe we start to see that. For now, it is pushing a bit towards Mickey. The wave in an awkward state as those creeps follow out. But something that we definitely have to keep our eye on. I wonder if we do see any action around the bottom side. Pretty impossible, I think, to lock down an Ezreal or Rakan, but you do have the Tahm Kench to, in theory, reset tower aggro if you wanted to try to force something.
Yeah, I feel like this is just going to be super slow early game. Like, I don't see room for Caedrel to make too much happen. You even have Alphari using his lane pressure to walk down into the river and help escort Xerxe onto that Scuttle Crab too. So now Alphari has been bought a whole lot of space in the top lane, while Xerxe picks up the crab no problem. And OG just playing their map very well. While Xerxe's on the top side, Alphari's going to be pushing, and the bot lane is going to be letting the wave come in on towards them. So they're not in any real danger of being ganked, and they will continue to scale up and get Karthus levels.
And slow games concern me, Ender, because when you talk about OG against the likes of Fnatic and G2, it's often like the tortoise versus the hare metaphor. OG very good at set plays, very calculated, can Galaxy brain you in draft, but don't always react very quickly. When you talk about XL versus OG, I'm concerned that it's become the tortoise versus the tortois, and that's not a story people want to read, Ender.
That's not even a race.
Has other plans. Because he's coming in, he's laying the smackdown. Kingslayer at least starting to look like it's close to a Mickey Slayer. Mickey just barely making it out of that one.
Yeah, so remember when I was saying that Nukeduck could do things in the early lane phase? Like, that's what I meant. Obviously, like, early on, I think with Akarsa in jungle, Nukeduck was happy to let the lane come in on towards him, but he's even got the wave in a position now where it should stick on his side of the map for quite some time, and will force Mickey to teleport back in here to try and break that potential freeze. Does a nice summoner win. Now, Nukeduck should respond himself and go for a TP as well, but I feel like he could have stuck around for this wave. He's not really in danger of being dove with Xerxe nearby him, so he could have looked for a better purchase, but I can't tell quite how much gold he's sitting on, so maybe it's good anyways.
And maybe he doesn't know where Pantheon is. Now, the good news is that he backs in time to get here to defend the tower so that Corki can't take a plate. Obviously, 2 waves stacked, so the threat there to give an extra 160 gold to Mickey is real. But, balances out in the end. Small CS lead for the Corki kind of as to be expected, but so far it hasn't been forced to go for an early Hex Drinker, is still on track to get that Trinity Force first item. But Nukeduck trying to change things. These aggressive, scrappy, just extended trades where he gets Conqueror and the healing from the Kingslayer. Upset and Destiny definitely suffering here, as Destiny not able to do a lot against this lane, against this weapon combo especially. He cannot leap in. So they're just getting bullied.
Yeah, still though, Upset will have a slight CS advantage for the time being down bot side.
The big bait there in the mid lane. You hold your breath for a second because you're not sure. Is this the moment where Mickey, or rather Caedrel, flash stuns? He's not going to go for it, and now level 6s are coming in top side. Obviously going to be very massive for the Rumble as he just ticks over. Equalizer could be a slow to get things started, but obviously you've got the double dash, the Lizard Wizard whoosh on that Renekton to take him out to safety.
The whoosh, you love to see it, is, Destiny going for a cute little trade right there. Patrik actually getting chunked out in this lane. Did lose a bit of that Severum healing on this most recent patch. Not that he's sitting on that gun anyways, but will mean he will be more punishable in lanes like this.
And that's the thing, is that once, I feel like once Upset has tier, you don't mind just extending the laning phase and just sitting and just chilling. Trading back and forth. He has the Sheen though, so it feels more like maybe an aggressive approach in the fights to come, but Xerxe's ticked over to that level 6 point, and this is where you start to get a little bit nervous if you're on the side of XL. At any moment, the laser beam can come down from the sky and might down your top laner, but Xerxe with enough confidence there, knowing Nukeduck and Destiny are behind him, that he can contest these camps. Caedrel steps forward, sees Destiny, and thinks better of it as he backs off. Here's the thing, now Alphari can go for the all-in. Expector's going to walk away, but Alphari can go for another dash. The flash out to safety, Alphari will not overcommit there. If he had not been slowed by the equalizer, he may have gone for the flash auto to finish that one off. Fancy footwork on the bottom side from Destiny, but it will not amount to much. Good news for the XL bottom lane is that this combo, specifically with both actives, can lay down a lot of damage in close combat. It'll stop them from bullying, but it's also not necessarily the greatest at pushing the wave. Have to use that onslaught from Severum, burn through that ammo quite quickly. That will take away the sustain option, with Patrik doing fine thus far. Blue buff there for Nukeduck means that his lane is going to get even easier. Looks like we will see the Protobelt rush from Nukeduck so far. At least is the early indication. Has the Dark Seal, has the Corrupting Pot, so a bit of additional sustain. At this stage of the game, I don't really think any either team is pressured to do a lot. Caedrel is the only guy that I think that we need to look at who may need to get more done. Obviously has a semi-global on the Pantheon, can look to do a lot, but at the end of the day, it's not about how good Pantheon is, it's how Pantheon matches up against Karthus, and that one, as we all know, does not scale favorable really in any jungle champion's favor the later we get. Maybe the Kindreds of the world, maybe the Talias if you're feeling optimistic, but outside of that, not a whole lot. Caedrel, though, now on the hunt, can push in, can look to contest this buff. Alphari is in the general area. There's no vision there, and Caedrel maybe can just hunt for a kill here. Instead, he's going to start this one off, however. Xerxe will be able to spot it out, has a smite of his own, can contest if he wants to, but does have to be careful, because Expect has pressure and priority on the top side of the map. We forced back, smite coming out, Caedrel will secure it, so a bit of contesting there, but definitely not the kills, not under any kind of substantial advantage outside of a red buff, just denying a bit. Nukeduck, of course, knows. He says, hey, I saw you on the red buff, just back off. He can't just dash out to safety.
Caedrel's so hungry to get something done. I'm back, by the way. Hello.
There you go. I was like, I'll just keep talking. It's fine.
Just keep it going. Experiencing some technical difficulties. We're trying to pull through people.
What I would have loved, for the record, because what was happening is Ender didn't have he couldn't see the game at this point in time. I would have loved if you just pretended like you could and you just started talking.
I was honestly considering it. You know, I was gonna be like, you know, in a slow game like this, what can we talk about? I don't know. Animal Crossing. Like, there's so many good options.
There's a lot of good options. Animal Crossing is, you know, it might as well be the official social isolation game. Patrik, though, is now in trouble. It's Destiny, though, trading back. That entire trade was a gigantic mess. I was honestly so ready to pop off.
This whole game is just, it's like, it's a wet noodle fight, you know? Like, nothing's happening. Like, they're trading, I guess.
But it's not a wet noodle fight, dude. But it is. There's a lot of damage. We're not a wet noodle fight.
But it doesn't mean anything, you know what I'm saying?
That's true, that's fair.
Like, it's still a lot of CS in bot lane. A lot of posturing, a lot of warning shots.
Like, yeah, a lot of warning shots. No one wants to go to war. They just kind of want to be like, hey, please stop. Like, leave. This is our objective now, sir, if you mind. Like,
it's like, you don't want to go to war, but you don't want to appear weak either, you know? Like, everyone's, like, really getting up in each other's faces, you know? It's like a school ground fight or something, you know? No one's actually going to do anything.
I was about to pull us out. School ground fight. There you go. Much, much better. I was like, we're getting way too close to actual global politics. Let's take it down a notch. Alphari, though, we have to take it down a few notches because there's a Pantheon coming into the top side, and he needs to shoot his way out of that one. And he will. So that's going to be the package and the Pantheon all utilized for just about nothing. Bit of pressure on the top side. It does mean, however, with the swap coming out, that they are going to be able to grab the Herald here. And also OG have something to say about it. They got the Karthus ult. Upset's ult is available as well. Destiny ready to kick a fight off.
They're going to have a potential flank from Alphari as well if they want to pull the trigger on this one.
Good damage from Patrik.
Come on, do something!
Ideal combo. Now Destiny's trying to zoom in, but he gets slowed before he can get anything done. Now Mickey's running. He's going to make it out to safety. Upset in danger, but Destiny's there to body block. They're caught there. Destiny has to flash up to safety now. Excel are trying to turn. It's a stolen Rumble ult coming in from Nukeduck. Trying to turn this one. Patrik flashing out. This was a gigantic mess. How is nobody dead? Are you serious? We've just decided that no one's going to die in this game?
That was so close, too.
What?
I like the stolen rumbles and everything, like right in the corridor. Like, it looked so good, but no, nothing actually going to end up happening in this game. And hey, OG perfectly content with that one. They're like, we'll soak up all your globals. You're going to try everything, but it's going to mean virtually nothing in the end. They did get the Rift Herald. Like, can they convert on that? Is the next thing, but. You know, converting for a couple hundred gold off tower plates isn't the same as getting kills onto some of your carries in these fights.
Look, at Ender, at 12 minutes when there's no kills, and we just witnessed just about every ult in the game be utilized in about a 30-second span, I'm forced to ask the quintessential cast question. I'll hold that thought as Destiny just whiffs that knockup, which is, who scales better? I need to know who benefits from all this stalling, from all this lack of action, from all this nobody dying stuff.
Well, honestly, there's a lot of different, like, variables to keep in mind here, because, like, on Excel's hand, like, you have a Corki, you have an Aphelios, both going to be really, really strong later on. You also have Alphari TPing in towards Expect, but the rest of Excel is just there.
Yeah, TP through. He's just going to slice and dice his way through the off position, can heal off the wave just a little bit on the cold of meat, but Alphari has stayed around for a bit too long, has enough fury. It is enough of a threat to force the rest of the team away, and in the meantime, we just have a sneaky little dragon being taken away by Xerxe.
Going back to the scaling question, like, I want to lean on the Origen side of things, primarily because, like, you have a Karthus whose ultimate is just going to be so monstrous later in the game, but also the Xerxe, I think, works very well into a lot of Excel's champions. Like, Pantheon's never going to do anything to him. He's very mobile, too, and can keep Corki at sort of arm's length. His Q poke is obviously going to outrange Corki's base auto attacks here, and Nukeduck, once he hits level 16, super low cooldown on the ults to be able to steal, and can pick up either the Rumble ult for the big team fight or the Corki ult to just get 7 procs of his passive in a side lane. Like, those are a couple solid options for them. Now, at the same time, Xel have really good abilities to go into a side lane, right? Not just because Corki is strong, pushing down towers or pushing waves, but when you have a Pantheon and a Tahm Kench that could be sitting in mid and looking to make those quick rotations, it means that Mickey should be very, very safe whenever he makes that type of a move.
This is an excellent 1-3-1 composition. Now, Rumble, not necessarily the king of side lane champions when I look at it, obviously very strong, but the semi-global from both the Tahm Kench and the Pantheon, the ability to pretty much make sure Patrik never dies between the Pantheon shield and also the Tahm Kench devour, makes a lot of this just much, much easier for Xel to execute as we get into the mid-game. And now kind of my eyes are on OG. They've got a lot of engage tools between the Rakan and potentially the Sylas/Renekton with just immediate CC. Do they actually do anything with it? Can they actually get a fight started?
That'll be the thing. So right now, Xel putting a lot of members down towards the bot lane to try and secure this tower. Alphari maybe can stop this one because the rest of Xel did end up calling off the chase right there to go back and pick up CS in mid lane. Now, a play I think Xel should be looking for, especially later on in the game. You know, you talk about, like, the potential 1-3-1. This is no 1-3-1 comp where, like, all 3 lanes are hitting towers. This is how you can play the map is you can spread out in towards 3 lanes, and ideally you have expect, push out bot lane, and then rotate up and towards mid while the rest of your team is teleporting up top side. Now bot lane.
TV been used. Now Alphari has to fully commit to the 1v1. The rest of the team now moving out. The Caedrel's moving into the bottom side. They're buying a bit more time. Patrik is the one in trouble, though, trying to lock down the enemy team. Tori's on the way, and he just needs to devour his teammate, but it's little too late. Patrik goes down before Tori do anything. He just wants to save somebody. Get in Tori's belly so he can feel it in this fight, but it's just not happening. And OG finally finding a little fire in their belly to get something kicked off. They grab 2 kills, and now they set their sights on this bottom tower.
Oh, it's just a huge punish, right? Because they get the bot lane tower, they keep theirs up, and this whole time, Upset is pushing in mid lane with absolutely no one to respond. That means not only does he get free damage on this tower, but all these minions being pushed in are being completely denied to the side of Xel. So while the gold was just right about even, now OG had the ability to completely open up this map. And Tori doesn't have the Abyssal Voyage either, so they're not able to get back and defend that one.
Dang. And just like that, game blows open. And you gotta give credit to Alphari. Fully hard commits here. Despite all the semi-globals, Origen still take this fight. They're just in a better position, and no matter how many Pantheon ults, Tahm Kench ults, whatever, that Xel can bring to the table.
I mean, there's a lot of things there, right? Like, even Alphari, the time he looked for the initiation, it was right as Expect overheated. So Expect couldn't immediately turn, plant his feet in the ground and look for the fight. Because if he wasn't overheated, the TP comes in, that's where Xel say, hey, we can actually try to do something if they can burst down Alphari right off the bat. But no, he wasn't able to buy any time, wasn't able to fight into them whatsoever. So OG were able to react quickly and get a couple members down there.
And I like to see it from OG, and to bring it back to your current favorite game of choice, it's Animal Crossing, dude. It's like they both were building the museum, but then OG just went into the system settings and set the clock forward. Their museum's done, boy.
Okay, by the way, if you do that, you are not a good person.
Okay, so it's not a one-to-one metaphor, because there's nothing wrong with it, what OG did. There's nothing immoral.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm out of League of Legends already.
All right.
Completely out of that one.
That's fine. I know, it's hard. You need more people on your island, you need more fruit. OG need more kills, and apparently need to win this fight too, as they're setting up, they're looking for something. Foray is definitely out of position. Luckily there's a blast cone there to keep him safe, but Mickey on the side with the package. Now there's still an ult from Expect. Destiny getting something kicked off, but Tori's just going to flash out. They can blast cone away, but no, the charm comes through. That's clutch from Destiny, but it's not enough. Mickey just left through the entire team. The Rumble ult's coming down, but there's no follow-up quite yet. Destiny's going to be able to make it out to safety, but now Upset's the one in trouble. Big ult comes in from Patrik. He wants to follow up, but Caedrel on the backside has to try to sidestep, and here comes the Karthus ult. Tori trying to save the day, but double kill for Nukeduck. And now Alphari is looking to clean house, but sadly, he overcommits, and he's taken out. Xel Then yet another fight. They get one kill back from themselves, and now Nukeduck has to dash away, but
Now he wants
I don't
back.
think Expect understands who was winning that trade. OG with more members, I mean, he is going to have to back off.
Oh, these fights really close, honestly, like very slow fights as well, but when the Karthus ult comes down and just nukes the Tahm Kench that's trying to save his carry, well, that's exactly where the fight is going to turn. You can start to see how these fights are going to start spread out more and more disproportionately in favor of OG as they continue to pick up these small wins.
Steady, incremental advantages. I mean, with good fights. And you gotta say, credit to OG for seeing these opportunities. And now they're winning so much, and Nukeduck's getting so much gold in his back pocket that he goes Ludens before his Proto Belt, which I love to see. Even more damage to come in these fights, and rough start for Torre, let's say.
Yeah, but I mean, he does get out right there, you know? I think it's... Wait, that wasn't... Who autoed that? I think that was an OG player that autoed that one. Anyways, Torre was able to survive right off the bat, but this fight gets super, super awkward. Nukeduck stole away, of course, the Rumble ulti, which ends up burning Torre. He had to come over to help him out.
I didn't know how Nukeduck got the kills.
So it was the combo. It was the combo, right? Because Nukeduck had Rumble ult that was on the ground. Torre says, I have to save my carry with the Karthus ult coming down. So he willingly steps onto the fire. And then when he dies, he immediately spits his friend out into the flames.
I think if he had reactivated Spit, it would have put him further away, but because he died, just put Caedrel right on his body.
Exactly how it works.
Oh no. Yo, that's so sad. I have to wonder what comms were like. I would love to hear it later from the Excel players. Like, did they, like, because in the fight, those Rumble equalizers are identical, visually, just about.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what you're standing on? Are you aware that you've just killed both of them by trying to save him from the Karthus ult?
I'm pretty sure the comms have just been like a big sigh, like, you're just sad after that. Like, you can't even be angry, right?
Yeah.
It's just like everything, nothing is quite going right for them.
The world is just, it's dark, it's gray, you're just sad, right?
Inside.
It is what it is.
Always.
All day, every day.
Animal Crossing is your only escape, but even in Animal Crossing, you have to deal with this terrible, like, by the way, hold that thought though, because Caedrel, run it
Caedrel's
away from
running.
the Skittles. Okay. Tahm Kench is a terrible person. He literally flies you out to an island. Tahm Kench.
Excuse me?
Tom Nook.
Do you mean Tom Nook? Yeah? Okay, alright.
Oh, I give up.
The Tom Kench of the Animal Crossing world?
Yeah, the
Okay,
Tom
fine.
Kench. Yeah, everyone hates Toms, right? Like, I'm sorry if your name is Tom. Like, you drew.
Probably somebody hates you. Sorry, Tom's
Just
of the world.
unlucky, yeah. There's someone out there at least. Yeah. No, like, this guy, Tom Nook, he tells, like, first of all, he brings me to his island and pretends that he's doing, like, some favor, right? He's like, oh, you're gonna pay for this, it's gonna be great. And then what does he have me do? He literally has me build his shop for him and is like overwhelming the positive. I don't get paid, by the way. The only people he pays are his literal family in Tommy and Timmy, right? Like, that's just nepotism at its finest. And then they have me building other people's houses. I'm not profiting at all from that. He gives me a shirt. He literally rewards me for building his own store, which I then have to go buy stuff from by giving me a shirt. Like, that's just messed up, dude.
We'll continue this in a second, because Alphari looks to be trying to 2v1, and right now he's doing quite well. Here comes the thunder down from the sky. So far, it's just going to be 1-for-1. And Patrik now has to run for the hills, as Nukeduck is here as well. Ender, look, dude, I got one question. Why do you keep playing if you're being exploited by a raccoon?
I'm too far in. I'm in crippling debt, and there's no escape. I'm in a lot of bells, man.
Hold on. We're in a fight. Everything's going down. Torre, once again getting picked off, has been out of position a number of times this game. So difficult up against the likes of Rakan to be safe. And now the Rift Herald is going to charge in the mid lane, is going to break down this inhibitor tower, at least do a decent chunk of damage. But the rest of OG are just pushing in. And now that OG are in complete control of the pace, the game just continues to accentuate because Nukeduck comes in, stolen Pantheon. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Nukeduck. And while they will not take the inhibitor, they get a ton of pressure in the mid lane by breaking down that inhibitor tower.
Walking in completely uncontested. There's nothing Xerxe can do. Upset's even jumping back, put in extra damage here, and this gives the control they need with literally every main tower down to just own this side of the right. And Mickey sees Nukeduck walking this way, but he has the package, so he thinks he's okay.
Upset?
Not okay.
So close. Ult. Nope. Tori finally saves. They're all counting. They're like, wait, card's down, right? Card assault is down, right? It is. We'll be safe. But now, Nukeduck and the rest of the can just start to set their sights on saying laying Baron vision control. So they'll grab this. The team can look to collapse on it next time they set, which is right now.
Actually, really good news for Xerxe is that because put down their vision, then immediately recalled, we get to instantly take it all away here. So, don't know if I would have necessarily loved to see all those control words placed down by OG, but regardless, now is the chance for them to go over and pick up a Cloud Drake, which, when you have a Karthus on your team, feels really good, because his ult CD is so insanely high that any extra 10% you can get, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's like, what, 15 seconds off? That's pretty good for only 10%.
Are you asking me to do the math right now? Because
I mean, I don't know what the alt cooldown is. I could look it up. I can tell you what 10% off the number is. That's easy math.
It's not worth
it. It's less. It means more destruction. It means more OG pain inflicted onto Xerxe. And for Xerxe,
wait a
the Wombo
second.
Combo dream is always alive, but I have a feeling that with all the AP that Nukeduck has, that maybe, just maybe, that his Rumble ult might just be a little bit better than Expect's Rumble ult.
I think you might be onto something right there, Drinkins. Now, the other thing is, if you're looking at the gold when we switched over, Xerxe literally has the same amount of gold as Nukeduck, as Mickey, as Patrik. Like, he is so insanely strong right now on the Karthus. Level 14 as well. That is 4 levels ahead of Caedrel. This guy, absolutely on fire, has maxed out all of his damaging abilities in Q and E as well, so the last benchmark for him is going to be to hit level 16, and once you get to that point, like, I don't think there's anything Xerxe can do.
Oh, Blazer and Cameron is so strong, and Mickey's finding this out firsthand. Are you kidding?
What?
Oh my god.
Alright, I'm sorry. Alphari, I apologize. I'm sorry I doubted you. I never doubted Alphari. I doubted the Renekton.
It's a scaling pick. And Blade of the Rune King is that strong. That's what we've learned. So much damage laid down. OG just continue the siege now. They don't even have to go for Baron. They don't have to take any risks. Upset can leap forward, lay down a bit of poke. Caedrel is not the engaged there. He just has to run for his life. Tori buying as much time as he can, but look at Upset. He is just playing with his food here. Leaping in. This man has not E'd backwards in years. Nukeduck stealing the ult, killing the person he stole it from with. That's just cruel. That's a Tom Nook move right there.
It's certainly the Tom Nook. Oh, you hate to see it. Now OG probably going to clear out all 3 inhibitors on this push. I mean, Upset, Xerxe, Nukeduck, all these guys, they don't ever have to commit to a fight either. That's the nastiest part about their champions, is they can just hit you from a mile away, and there's never a window in which you can feel like you can truly punish them. Every lane just getting destroyed.
And look, 2 inhibitors down. Xerxe went from kind of in this game to kind of out of this game to most definitely out of this game. Xerxe only level 14, but when level 16 comes around, things are going to go from bad to worse. Upset has no fear of any individual member on the Xerxe lineup, and now a stolen Aphelios ult. We may see what it does. But no, instead, OG just get to back off. They're taking their time. They've got triple Drakes that are on Cloud, or Soul Point rather, with Cloud Soul.
And Baron's still up, so they can pick that one up pretty easily.
Yeah, and the Blade of the Rune King on the Renekton actually makes it that much easier as well. 12% max health damage is solid, rather current health damage. So, you got Skittles, you got an Ezreal. Yeah, this is a very, very, very easy Baron. You've even got the Rakan for the turn if Xerxe try to come to contest, so... Tori...
Oh, they're calling the fight right now.
Oh, Blade of the Rune King to slow him down. That's a stun. Upset now trying to finish it. Misses the first Q, though. Expecting a sidestep. Definitely not ideal, but Nukeduck is in the enemy base. Now Karthus ult is coming down. He's going to buy a bit more time with his Zarya as Upset kills Tori. Nukeduck just going to flash out of that one. Mickey now on the retreat. OG can push in and try to end, or they can look for the Baron. It's really their choice.
Upset still getting ham right there. Oh, lands another Q onto Patrik. Oh, he's in so much trouble. The minion, only thing keeping him alive right now.
And the Wall of Pain perfectly placed between the towers, our turrets as well. Very hard for Xerxe to step forward. Mickey's still doing so. Of course, stolen Corki ult not going to be that threatening in the fight to come, but there's the package. There's the ulti for as well coming in from the Rumble. They haven't done much with it. Now Caedrel in, trying to make his way back out of the fight. Patrik trying to lay some damage down, but Nukeduck now on the hunt. Has to back off, has no stopwatch. But he's alive for now. Destiny trying to keep him safe. Alphari immediately into the back line, but Xerxe are holding on. OG are over-committing, and they're getting taken out left and right. They still have 3 members. The Moonshot will miss from Patrik. Notice the team can now back off. They've got themselves a bit more time. They don't need to push for anything else, but Xerxe know that this is their opportunity to make something happen. Tahm Kench ulti coming in. Destiny going to find the knockup. But still, Upset is so strong. Xerxe is strong as well. If he goes down here, he'll be able to zone for the rest of his team with the power of that passive. Mickey has to be careful. Nukeduck here too. Looks like they are just going to retreat. Xerxe could rush for a very greedy Baron, but I just don't think that they can. They have to back off, and despite coming out on top in some parts of that fight, not able to do anything with it.
Yeah, they were so close to getting a couple of kills right there, but because they weren't able to actually finish any of those players off, like OG able to walk away from that one pretty alright. Now, the layering of ults doesn't do a great job, I don't think, right there, but still, they were able to stay alive for long enough, and I think the tower right there to try and zone Upset away for a second was good as well. It's actually Patrik hitting people from a mile away with his ultimate too that really zones Destiny and Upset away from the fight, but it's just Alphari going really deep there, OG trying to push for the end, and it's something I respect when people say they play too slowly, trying to finish it off in style right there, but we'll have to wait to pick up the Soul and probably the Baron before they close this one out.
Easy Soul pickup as well. I mean, they still have to pick their battles at this point. They maybe get one more shot at a fight, and Cloud Soul definitely not the one that ends games. So instead, maybe looking to fight, contest around the Baron as they're still struggling to push out this mid lane, just now clearing out that super minion wave.
I don't know how they approach it though, right? Like, none of their champions are all that good at face checking into brush. So if Destiny finds a good flank playing inside pockets without enemy vision, like, that's immediately how you can start off this fight. Alphari has teleport as well too. There's a ward inside the XL base that he could go to. There's wards inside the jungle too, so anything that Alphari can jump on towards with that buffed movement speed after the channel is just going to pin down Patrik or Mickey and try to kill them ASAP.
Pretty easy pickup though for OG. Looks like Xerxe have decided that their final stand will not be here, although Expect may have something different in mind. Could look to throw down the ultimate, a Miracle Steal. Possible, but it's not going to happen because the Nasher goes over to the side of OG. Equalizer comes out, Caedrel now going in, but OG have no reason to stick around, and Xerxe are all out of tools to kick a fight off with, so...
Wait, they just gave up their inhibitor for free!
Ooh,
wait,
just got
you have to fight!
Big ulti now coming in. Nukeduck's going to go over the wall of Scond, looking for the abduct. He's going to fish. He's going to find it. Easy pickings. And that's got to be it. There's no way Xerxe come out of this one on top. Upset. The engage from Destiny is beautiful. The follow-up is there, and Xerxe just jumped straight into the meat grinder. Torre tries to leave. He's not going to make it. Oh, and that's absolutely brutal. OG put their foot on the gas and end the game just like that. Looks like... Alphari, come on. Hit the Nexus. Hit the Nexus, Alphari. Alright, we're gonna
like waiting for the next day when all the rocks have iron in them again.
Alright, man.
Sorry, I really had to continue that one.
Oh, gee. They're gonna kill him. They're gonna get the ace. They're gonna end the game. Massively dominant performance from OG. Always a pleasure to see.
Hey, I mean, that is just